So I just want to talk totally openly for just a few minutes about something that has really been on my heart for a really long time. And I just feel like now's the time to say it. So I don't know where you're watching this from or listening to this from or when you will, but I pray that it is a word for your heart and something that honestly frees your heart a little bit more. It's something that I have found so much freedom in and personal victory. And don't we all want that? Don't we want those? I feel like there's so many things at times that we can look at our life where we feel like we're failing and we need those victories. And I really hope that this becomes a place for you of just such personal victory. And so I'm sharing with you from that place of not observing this, not coming from a place of this is something I heard about once. This is something that I have personally lived. This is something that I have personally wrestled through and struggled with. And really, I feel like a Goliath in my life that I've had to defeat. And I don't know if it is for you or not, but I see it in so many of my friends and so many people that Nathan and I work with and talk to. If you don't know who we are and what, some of what we do, we are in the people business. And we are, for the last really 17 years, I guess we've been married plus 2 dating. So last 19 years of my life has really been the people business in some form or fashion, whether that was in ministry and full-time ministry for a season, or whether that's really been in the marketplace and doing businesses and rubbing shoulders with people that are really cool doing business. And so there's been a lot of people that we've been able to have interaction with and seen that this is not just an isolated thing to myself or to Nathan, but just so many of us, I feel like, really struggle with this. And what I want to talk with you about is an unhealthy pattern. And we have a lot of them, Lord knows. I've got so many in my life that he just keeps kind of like, it's like a checklist, I think, that he just keeps ticking off. But this unhealthy pattern specifically that I want to talk with you about is a pattern of making excuses in our life for why we aren't doing something, or why we can't do something, or why we haven't done something. So what I want you to do is I want you to stick with me, because sometimes when we hear the phrase, especially if you're in the business world, I know this is really true of myself even. If I have heard the phrase, I've been in different seasons where it's like, oh, don't make excuses for things, just do it. And I've even taught that. I've even taught that mantra. And there is truth to that. There is truth to stop making excuses, just do it. But what I want is to make sure you don't hear this from a lens of burden and from a angle of, oh gosh, this is heavy. This is something that is meant to free your heart. And I want you to stick with me. So if you just heard the word excuse and you have a story you're already telling yourself of, oh gosh, this chick's gonna like throw it all at me and tell me I just need to like try harder and do more and do New Year's resolutions and set more goals and have more grit, I want you to hear right now that that is not what I'm going to talk about. So if you'll stick with this, I think you're going to be really pleasantly surprised at the direction that I feel like this is, again, just coming from my own life and having even been there. But a lot of times whenever we are stuck in this unhealthy pattern of making excuses for why we aren't or haven't or can't do something, what we find is it actually leaves us that very place of excuse, which we feel like we're kind of in control. When we make those excuses, we kind of dig our heels even subconsciously into the ground and make this excuse. It leaves us feeling sad. It actually leaves us feeling, some of us leaves us feeling depressed. It's a struggle sometimes to get up in the morning. We feel very unmotivated. We feel like we can't get out of bed because we just plain feel sad. And we can't always even put words to it. And I'm raising my hand to say that has been me at different seasons and for years of my life. Just a sadness of, gosh, I can't even like pinpoint why I'm sad, but I just don't feel like facing this day. I just don't feel like, and a lot of times it comes down to simply because I feel like I haven't done what I wanted to do, or I haven't set out to do what I accomplished, or I am stuck in a trap of complaining about how I'm not there yet, whatever the proverbial there is, this place that I've made in my head, this destination I've made. But really in reality, I haven't done what it takes to get there. Again, when I say that, some of you might kind of filter that through. Oh no, here she goes. She's going to talk about like grind it out, grit it out, just go for it. Try. I'm not going there. So stick with me, because we haven't done what it takes. You haven't done what it takes to actually get to the place where you think you want to go or have envisioned. And I'm going to show you what I mean by that and why. So how this excuse, we make these excuses for ourselves. And really, let me just kind of map out for you how the excuses that we make for either why we've not done what we want to do with our business. If you're a business owner, an entrepreneur, like why you haven't done what you want to do in your business, why you're not moving forward at X, Y, or Z in your life. Maybe it's a relationship. Maybe it is your business. Maybe it's whatever, fill in the blank. Why you're not a better parent, why you're not a better spouse, why your marriage isn't where you want it to be. All these things, we make excuses for why they aren't where they are, where we want them to be. And so we create the excuse in our head. It could be a million things, but I'll throw out some ideas because you might be thinking, well, I don't really make excuses. Let me just throw out some. We make probably 100 a day. I know I do. Well, I can't do that because fill in the blank. What is it? What is that thing? I haven't hit that rank in my business yet, or I haven't gotten that job promotion yet because fill in the blank. That woman or that guy annoys me so much. I can't listen to her because. So if you're saying that right now, I totally understand. You can totally turn this off, but I promise you, even if I do annoy you, stick with it. There might be something here for you. There might be a nugget. But whatever it is, we make this excuse. I got to flip that off because, oh gosh, I can't even stand the sound of her voice. What about this one? I'm not walking with the Lord right now because so many Christians or the church or that church are blank, or they did blank to me. They hurt me in X way. So that's why I'm not walking with the Lord right now. That's why my faith is so shaken right now because blank. I keep exploding at my teenager because she or he fill in the blank. I can raise my hand on that one again too. Definitely had those seasons, and it definitely was. In my situation, I don't know about yours, but in my situation, it was absolutely my teenager's fault. So I'm not making any excuses there. But just kidding. It really was my fault too. So we make this excuse. And whatever it is, I just gave you a few of the thousands of examples that I could give you. We make an excuse, then here's what we do. We look for signs to confirm it. We only will follow people that will validate it. And we write posts to justify it. So I'm going to say those three things again because this is key, you guys. This is what we do. We make these excuses, business, parenting, marriage, our faith, the job, something we know we're supposed to step out and step into, our health, our fitness, our weight, you name it, fill in the blank. But we make these excuses and then we look for signs to confirm it. We look for signs that confirm all the reasons. Yeah, see, that's right. Look at that sign, or look at that word, or look at that number, or look at that thing that confirms for us the excuse. So it solidifies it for us. We only will follow people that will validate it. So whatever that excuse is, the church hurt me because of this. We tend to group together with like-minded people that validate it for us. So we feel really good because everybody's telling us we're right. Everybody's telling us that excuse that we've made is accurate. But in truth, we've only cut out all the people that disagreed with us, all the people that had a different opinion than us, because we want to be validated, and we want to be validated in this thing, this lie, this story that we're telling ourselves. And we also will, especially when you're in a season where you're kind of under attack in this area, there's some excuse that you're making, whether it's your faith, it's your family, it's your fitness level, it's your business growth. We write posts to justify it. look back at your Facebook posts, look back at your Instagram posts, ask yourself, where's the authenticity, where's the truth in them? Are you only writing things so that you can get comments, and are you writing things in certain ways to garner the response that you desire because your heart needs it, your soul needs it. It needs to be fed in a way that will justify the excuse you've been making for yourself. And when you see those comments, it's like life to you. It's actually breathing life to the very excuse that you've made. And in some ways, you've manipulated the situation to get the thing that you think your heart needs, which is in that moment, you think you need justification for why you're doing or not doing whatever it is that you're doing or not doing. So we do these things. We make excuses and then we do these things. But when we agree with this unhealthy pattern of the excuses in our life, you are the one who is doing three things. You are robbing the very blessing that God might just be sitting there waiting to pour out on you. You are also stunting your own growth, and you're actually making a choice to stay stuck right where you are. And I say you, but I mean me. I've done this so many times, which is why I can speak to this. I have made excuses. I've gotten in this unhealthy pattern. I've robbed the very blessing that God wanted to give me. I have stunted my own growth. And in so many ways, I have made an unconscious, very subconscious choice, but very clear actions. I have made the choice to stay stuck right where I am. But what can you do? That's kind of the bad news. I mean, that's the unhealthy pattern. But what I want to give you is, what can you do? What can you do right now to begin to shift this unhealthy pattern of excuse making in your life? You might not have thought that you're an excuse maker, but if you really will dig deep and be honest with yourself, you're probably making a lot of excuses for a lot of things that you didn't even realize. Evaluate all the areas. Evaluate, where is your body physically? Are you healthy? And I'm not saying skinny. I'm saying, are you healthy? Are you a healthy weight? Are you having health issues related to weight gain? Are you fit? Are you thriving in your business? Are you skilling up? Are you, do you have good relationships, or is there really a trail of relationships that aren't healthy in your life? Like, look at all these things and begin to honestly evaluate, where are you? And what can you do? What you can do right now is begin to put up some fences. You can begin to put up fences. And if you think about a fence, I mean, we have a fence around our yard. Fences keep out the bad and it keeps in the good. There's some unhealthy fences. That's for another video on another day. And some of us put up walls. We guard our heart in a wrong way and we shut people out. And when you shut out pain, you shut out love. I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about healthy fences, healthy boundary lines around our life. And I'm going to give you three things that I think create healthy fences to stop this unhealthy pattern of excuse making that's keeping you stuck. Number one is, stop the toxic social media scrolling. Stop it. You have the choice. You have the choice to stop the toxic social media scrolling. You know it's not good for you. You know that first thing in the morning, it is not healthy for you to wake up and grab your phone and scroll through Instagram and see how awesome everybody's night was, how sucky yours was, and validate for yourself the excuse of why you can't, before your feet have even hit the ground, why you can't start the day differently, why you can't start the day powerfully, going after the thing that God has put in you instead of worried about what He's already doing in somebody else. It's toxic for yourself. And you are allowing somebody else to determine what you're going to do. Ultimately, you're actually allowing somebody else, their life, and it could be real life. It could be fake life. You've heard fake book, Facebook. What you're getting is a highlight reel from somebody's life, and it's the best pieces. It's the pieces they want you to see. So you're letting what you think you know about somebody else determine not just what you do that day, but really what you're going to be, what you're becoming. You are becoming every minute of your day. Are you becoming better? Are you becoming worse? Are you becoming the best version of yourself, fully alive? Or are you becoming more and more sad and depressed, lonely, isolated because of this toxic social media scrolling? The voices, if you hear voices in your head after you scroll through social media, if these things start going off for you immediately, of like you look at somebody else's thing and somehow you associate their thing, whatever their post is, it immediately goes to yourself in some way. It goes to yourself with like, oh gosh, like why didn't I do that? Or why didn't I think of that idea? Or you wish somehow that you were doing what they were doing. And I'm not just talking about a vacation or this or that, but somehow it makes you think about how sorry your life is. Or you're frustrated because they have a message and they've already created a virtual course on it, or they have a ministry and a platform that you wish you had, or they hit a rank in business that you haven't yet achieved. Whatever these voices are, you immediately take what you see there and you associate it with something you have not done in your life. It's toxic. It's taking somebody else's life and you're allowing it to dictate what you become. So we have to stop that. We have to put some safeguards and fences up. One thing, and the second thing that you can do is unfollow or unfriend or limit your time. Tell yourself when you're gonna be on social media. And I'm harping on social media for a second just because it is one of the number one things that is causing a lot of this excuse making. You think back in the day when your neighbor was a mile away and there was none of this, you didn't really know what somebody halfway around the world was doing or becoming that you haven't yet done or become. You were just focused on your life. So we have this very real virtual reality that we have to face. And one thing you can do is unfollow or unfriend things that are toxic or not healthy for you. Now, we have to also, those are some fences, but you can go through and unfollow and unfriend every single person, but the issue can still be in your own heart. So that is just more of a temporary fence for yourself. But the truth of the matter is the issue's still in you. There is also times though where there is just unhealthy people that just don't need to be on your feed. You just don't need it. So have some courage, guard your heart, for out of it flows all of life. Setting fences and guarding your heart is healthy. Allowing the entire world to speak into your life and to dictate the things you think about. And really, I mean, for Pete's sake, Facebook and Instagram change their algorithms like every single week. So their algorithms are dictating the things that you're even seeing. And so maybe you're not guarding your heart very well there because you're letting Facebook decide what you see whenever you open it up and just mindlessly scroll through. So unfriend, unfollow, do what you've got to do to protect and guard your heart a little bit better. And the third thing is be aware. Be aware of the sting. What do I mean by that? If it still stings, there's something in you that needs to be healed. There's something in you that needs to be dealt with. Don't ignore the sting. Be aware of the sting. When you see something in social media, when you hear something that a friend is talking about, when you see that somebody has launched a new program and you go check it out and there's a sting there for you, you need to stop ignoring it. Wake up, be aware, there is something in you that needs to be dealt with. That sting is not the other person's fault. They didn't cause the sting. The sting is there because there's a wound, there's a sadness, there's a hurt, there's something there that needs to be dealt with. So those are 3 things that you can do to really set some fences in your own life. A really wise man and dear friend of mine, he's a pastor, his name is Steve Fry, here locally in town. He said to myself and to Nathan the other day, we were at Jamba Juice grabbing a smoothie, and he made the comment, he said, Jenny, sometimes the message takes as long as the messenger. So there's 2 parts to this. There is the messenger and there's the message. So what Steve meant by this is the messenger's in process. We are in process. Our character is being developed by the life circumstances that we are walking through, if we are allowing those circumstances to develop that character in us. And you don't want your calling to happen faster than the character is being developed in you. I have seen so many people who have tried to take a purpose or a calling or something by force. They've tried to go after it because they're looking on social media to the right and to the left, and they're seeing everybody else get their calling and their release faster. And there's an envy there. There's an envy that compels them to try to step into something faster than their character has actually been developed. And when they do that, they fall. They don't yet have the character to support the lifestyle that they've created. And so there's a falling there. So that's the messenger. We're being developed. We're in process right now. But then there's the message. And what my friend Steve meant by this is sometimes the message actually takes longer than the messenger. You may have the character to support the lifestyle, but the message isn't clear. You're not sure what God wants you to speak or what that purpose and focus really is. And it's important to know and to remember that your message is being honed through the story that you're living right now. And sometimes there's just not yet enough data points along that journey to really string together into a clarity of a message. So be patient with that. But I know from personal experience, it's frustrating. And what do you do? What do you do in that tension of frustration where you're wishing you were further along than you really are? You're wishing your message was more clear. You're wishing you had the platform and the following that you could influence today. You're wishing that your business was more successful than it is. What do you do right now? And again, we've talked about that unhealthy place of what we've probably been doing. So number one, first and foremost, is we eliminate excuses. Eliminate those excuses. Evaluate all the ways that right now, today, you are making excuses, your own excuses that are shutting down the very thing that God wants to do in you. And admit it. Stop allowing yourself to do it. Stop allowing yourself to find justification in those excuses because it's meeting a need in you. And it's falsely meeting that need. There's other ways a healthy way for those needs to get met, but you are allowing it. And you have to face it. We have to face the fact that we have been making excuses and we have been either out of fear, whatever it is, but really those excuses are just stories. They're stories that you and that we're telling ourselves these stories probably out of fear. And it really is the primary reason we're not moving forward. How ironic is that? The very thing you want and that you deeply desire is to move forward in blank. Fill in the blank. Your parenting, your relationships, your marriage, your business, your spiritual life, your fitness, your health. You want to move forward and you're angry, you're sad, you're frustrated that you aren't. But the very thing that's stopping it is you. It's so ironic. It's the very thing that's stopping it. It's the excuses that you're making that are keeping you there. So number one is eliminate the excuses. How else do we deal with this unhealthy pattern and the frustration that is left in its wake is number two is divert your eyes. I don't know where you're at in your faith journey. I don't know where you're at in your story. I don't know what's happened to you. I don't know what's hurt you. I don't know what those things are. But I know for me, this is true. Whatever I stare at grows. Whatever I fix my attention and my gaze upon, it gets bigger. So if that's my circumstance, and all I can focus on is my loss or my pain or my frustration or the person next to me who's getting the very thing that I want that I haven't yet got, or whatever it is, or it's the child that's unruly or disrespectful and they're not doing anything right, or it's the spouse that isn't loving or is disrespectful or whatever. If that is where I spend the majority of my focused time and I stare at it, that thing grows. And for me, what has changed that and what has completely freed me from that torment, because it will create torment. When that thing grows, it is just, you can't even sleep, man. It robs you in every way. That thing you have allowed to grow from this to this it completely overtakes your thoughts, your heart, your emotions, your life. And the thing that has changed that is to change my gaze, to divert my eyes from that circumstance, from that thing, to Jesus. Fix your eyes on Jesus. He is the author. He started this faith in me. He's also the finisher of it, and he is the sustainer of it. He is the one who, when I fix my gaze on him, tells me I'm enough. He tells me I'm loved. He tells me all those things that I'm actually looking to everything else to tell me. And that's why I'm grasping at straws to have more accomplishment in my life, or at times grasping for that calling even. That sounds so good to want to have that, but why? What's my motive? What is that motive behind that? Do you want Facebook and Instagram, Snapchat, pick a social media channel, I don't know, pick one. Do you want those social channels and outlets to dictate your level of peace? That's what you have to ask yourself. If you're going to allow it to dictate your level of peace, you are going to be robbed. The only way out of that is to divert your gaze, divert your eyes, and look at something else. So number 3, we've got to eliminate excuses, divert our eyes. Number 3 is do what's set before you. Oh my goodness, this one has a near and dear place to my heart, because this summer, so summer of 2019, will now officially be 11 years that God has literally been giving me that word and giving Nathan that word. Every time we have complained, every time we have asked him to be out of a situation, every single time we have said, I quit this business, I want to do something else, it's too hard. Every single time we have been frustrated that we've not achieved a rank or an accomplishment. Every time we've lost $10,000 or gotten an unexpected $28,000 tax bill, or I don't know what's the reason. Every time we've made dumb decisions and spent $35,000 on marketing and totally got screwed. Every time we have done these things in our business journey, or a relationship's gone south, or every time somebody's misunderstood me, every time we've had to make a hard decision that has actually cost us friendships when we knew it was something he was calling us to do, every time the message has been clear: Jenni, Nathan, do what is set before you. Every time we have looked and made an excuse of why we couldn't do it, why we haven't done it, he has said, well, why? You have something right in front of you that you actually can do right now. So do what's set before you. And it's amazing, because again, he is not the God who just like sticks us in a microwave and 2 minutes later we pop out done. You know, it's this process. And so we have to continue to be faithful in the small things, because his promises, he will make us ruler over much, much more if we are faithful in that. And it's okay, because I've done business in my heart. I've done that hard work of identifying those excuses and eliminating them. The things that were telling me stories of why I couldn't do something right now. And I've stopped letting other people rob me and dictate the direction of my life. And I have diverted my eyes from things that are unhealthy, and I've put them where they need to be, on the only one, again, who can daily affirm me and tell me I'm enough. I think that these other things will tell me that. That's the lie. I chase these other things at times in my life, thinking that they'll satisfy and that they'll tell me, yeah, Jenni, you're enough. Look what you did. Look what you accomplished. But that feeling eludes me. I still, at the end of the day, am left with, am I? Am I enough? And there's only one place where I can ever finally really fully see that satisfied. And faithfully doing what is set before me. Being faithful in what is it right now in my business. I may not see the fullness. I may not have the bigger message, but I can be faithful. I can be faithful in my job right now. I can be faithful in my home right now to have that conversation with my teenager. That's hard. Yeah, it's hard, but I can push through. I can do it. I can be faithful in my marriage to love my husband the way that I know he needs to be loved, and can honor and respect him in that hard place. I can be faithful to have that hard conversation with a friend that needs to be had. What is it that you can do right now? That's what he's asking. What is it that you can do? I don't know if you can see this. It's a necklace that says, "It is well with my soul." It is literally my favorite necklace. I'm kind of obsessed with necklaces. I don't know if you've ever noticed, or like, you'll probably notice now on these videos. So the day that I don't have a necklace on, you'll probably message me and be like, "Where's your necklace?" Because I love necklaces. I'm kind of obsessed with them, but I'm obsessed with specific kinds of necklaces. Ones that have meaning, ones that have words, and then all these really cool little things, because each one of these things on here has meaning. So I like stuff that's intentional, stuff that has meaning. And this one says, "It is well with my soul." And I got this necklace. I've been wearing this necklace for a very, very, very long time. And I have worn it since my son Hosea passed away, coming up now on 13 years ago. It's crazy to say that. He would be 13 on April 9th, 2019. And I did not know that day that I found him face down, not breathing, in a baby bed that less than 6 months later was actually recalled. The bed was taken off the market because our son wasn't the only one who fell down into a dip in the middle of the bed, forced him to the middle. He was stuck face down and could not roll himself over, and so he suffocated. He was not at a place where he could get his arms out of his blanket, and he was stuck. And I did not know that day that the journey ahead was literally going to be like riddled with opportunities to make excuses. The thousands of opportunities that I have had since that day, 13 years ago, to make excuses as to why I'm still in bed, as to why I'm out of shape, as to why I'm not going to love again, as to why I'm angry inside and don't want to be a good parent, as to why I don't want to go create anything, taking risks is scary. All these reasons, all these opportunities to make excuses have literally, moment by moment, day by day, week by week, year by year, have been literally coming at me like a machine gun. And I'm sure you have felt the same thing. Your experience is different than mine. I don't know what that marker moment has been in your life, but that was a marker moment for me that literally started the machine gun fire of excuses as to why I just need to stay stuck in this place. I need to stay stuck in this pain. But just like you, I've been given an opportunity. I've been given an opportunity, a different opportunity. There's been plenty of opportunities for excuses, but I've also been given the opportunity to say, "It is well with my soul. It is well with my soul." And there's only one way that I can say that, but I've continued on in those moments of temptation. I've continued forward in those moments of temptation to really hold on to the only one that could truly help me say no to excuses and say yes to the things that would make my soul well. And you have that same opportunity. And my prayer is that you can come to the place in this very moment, even after you push stop on this video or after it ends. My prayer is that wherever you find yourself right now today in your story, that you don't make any more excuses to put off for tomorrow what needs to be done today. This really is life and death. It will rob you or it will give you life if you don't deal with this. You have to come to the place. You don't have to, but my prayer is that you will come to the place where you're honest with yourself and where you allow heart surgery, open heart surgery, to begin to take place, so that the excuses that have really kept your feet literally nailed to the floor in fear, that those excuses disappear and you allow something to happen in your heart that clothes your feet with peace. So instead of fear and walking in fear constantly, because that's really what's behind the excuses, let's be honest, there's some fear of some sort. You allow your feet to be clothed in peace as you work right now in the now, and as you wait for what's coming next.